Hey folks, welcome back to Ndaba Africa. This is Chris once again coming to you from central Pennsylvania. Well, it seems they just can't wait until Friday, the 20th of November 2020 to play their race baiting, race merchant game once again. Today, the 18th of November, we see people show up outside Brackenfell High School in the Western Cape to start chaos and to spew their racial hatred. Listen to this gem from this lovely young man and his foul mouth as this racist bigot dressed in economic freedom fighters, EFF colors, what he says about white people, denigrating 4.8 million people with his hate speech. This is a crime punishable under law in South Africa. I wonder if the police have issued a bench warrant for his arrest for his bigotry and racism. Once again, a member of the EFF, or at least someone dressed up to pretend to be a member like the EFF. Listen to the foul mouth on this little slime ball.
How dare you, you know? Fuck you! You stole our land! Fuck you, white people!
This is an example of the hate-filled, race-baiting, racist bigotry that the African National Congress tolerates in South Africa so long as it's directed against minorities. God forbid an elderly woman who's been mugged and nearly carjacked and is in shock uses a foul word against police officers. He's fined tens of thousands of dollars, sent to prison as a common felon with rapists and murderers. Never mind that. That's apparently horrific. Yet this vile, disgusting piece of filthy slime, homo sapien, racist bigot can say what he says. Listen to this slime ball as he says, "We are combat ready for these land thugs." Land thugs. Listen, doofus. Did you miss where you're actually standing, you racist slime ball? You are standing outside a suburban high school. What land is stolen? Stop your racist narrative. This is a racially charged, intentionally distorting narrative. Land thugs. What a sad, pathetic little fool you are. We are armed and ready to shoot to kill. Is that a threat? Sounds like it to me. The settlers must know we will respond with each bullet straight to the head. The settlers, again, hate speech. You know, it's interesting. The Bantu are settlers too. Are you going to shoot Bantu as well, my friend? You sad, pathetic clown. Yes, and I'm going to shoot straight to the head of each settler. When asked his name, this young man who's perfectly comfortable spewing hatred on the streets and being videotaped doing it, obviously has no fear of any consequences, legal or ramifications whatsoever, because he knows the African National Congress will not prosecute racist black thugs who threaten minorities, white, colored, Indian, and even other blacks. He gave his name as Malisu Samu, if that's truly his name, if I heard it correctly. Expose this racist bigot for what he is and report him to the authorities. Someone go lay a charge at the South African Police Service, the closest police station, for his bigotry and his hatred, seeking to incite violence, domestic terrorism in its most apparent form in South Africa.
Why are you winning?
Of course, we are combat ready for anything that these land thugs think they can do to us. We have seen them beating brutally our fellow brothers the other time, and we know they are armed and they are ready to shoot to kill. So are we.
Okay. Sure. That's the reason you're wearing your bulletproof vest?
Of course, the settler must know that this time around they are not just going to get away with brutalizing Africans and think we're not going to respond. We're going to respond with each bullet straight to the head of each settler.
What's your name?
Bangaliso Samu.
In this clip, also purportedly outside of Brackenfell today, the 18th of November 2020, this group of pathetic little racists stands around and sings hate speech, which is banned. That's right, this is banned. It's against the law in South Africa. Although Julius Malema apparently doesn't suffer the consequences of law in South Africa, it is against the law for people to stand around and sing Shoot the Boer. There, in this case, they've adapted their song to change it. One bullet, 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 one settler, bullet, bullet, shoot the settler. Yeah, this is the volatile situation in South Africa as a consequence not of apartheid, not of racism or bigotry on the part of any minorities in South Africa. This is the consequence of 15 years of hate-filled narrative spewed to poorly educated, illiterate clowns by those seeking political power for themselves at all cost, who don't care about South Africans, not a single one, unless you are a member of the EFF or an ANC cadre. These people are dangerous and should be removed from the streets and prosecuted for their crimes. They do it in plain sight of anyone. They don't care. There are no consequences in the lawless land of South Africa. The African National Congress will allow you to spew whatever hatred you are, so long as the hue and pigmentation of your skin suits its desires for its political needs to overcome its failures, to hide behind smoke and mirrors all of the failures of the African National Congress, a liberation group that has distorted and lied about history at every turn, that takes full credit for the entire liberation struggle in which they played a part, and until the 1980s, a very small and insignificant part, because they were marginalized after the terrorist attacks, and all of their leadership found themselves sitting in prison in Robben Island after the Rivonia trial in 1963. So the ANC was a non-factor for 63 until about 1976, and then barely a factor, and only a genuine factor in South Africa's liberation struggle, starting with the Soweto uprising in 1985. But they distort and lie about history and steal history from others, like Steve Biko, who led the Black Consciousness Movement, or Helen Zille, who exposed how Steve Biko was murdered by security services, or the Black Sash Movement, or even the Pan-African Congress and other liberation movements. They steal history with their lies and distortions, and they're not worthy of the role of governance that they have in South Africa. After 15 years of consecutive state capture, progressively stealing more and more from the people, and now simply relying on racial hatred, spewed even by the president himself, Cyril Ramaphosa himself, dear Cyril, Uncle Cyril, telling people that the reason that there's gender-based violence in South Africa, on a national broadcast no less, is because white people by nature are racist. Now, that racist-laced commentary is vile and disgusting coming from anyone, let alone the president, sitting president of a country. To add on top of that, look at what these people are singing and saying. Who's the racist here? Who's the racist here? Looks like these people are. The racial hatred knows no bounds. So you saw them shoot the settler, kill the settler, one bullet, one settler, one bullet, one settler, 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 bullet, bullet. So they're chanting and they're firing themselves up for their great offensive. We'll see them exposed for the cowards they are in just a moment.
One bullet, one settler, settler, bullet, 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 settler, settler.
Well, that's tragic, folks. That's quite a sad development right there. We see that what is developing here is apparently a mass suicide is in play as these young buffoons sing one settler, one bullet, apparently not aware of the fact that only the Khoi and San were in southern Africa when the settler colonizing Bantu peoples began to arrive about 1,600 years ago, about 1,300, 1,200 years before the Europeans arrived in the Western Cape 348 years ago. So one settler, one bullet. It's going to take a lot of bullets. If you take out the Khoi and San, that doesn't leave many South Africans. Now, if we allow for mixed-race coloreds, many of whom have Khoi and San blood, if not all of them, then that reduces the number that must commit mass suicide to a much more manageable figure for these buffoons. Seriously? One settler, one bullet? Your race merchant behavior, your race baiting language is vile. Yeah, one settler, one bullet. Apparently, they're going to commit mass suicide. Stay tuned, folks.
I'm not going past this point.
fucking standpoint in your movement.
What you saw there, folks, was a gathering of these people outside of Brackenfell today, the 18th of November, 2020, in an unlawful assembly, no permit for a demonstration whatsoever, harassing children who are in school trying to take their final examinations for matric. This is the behavior of so many thugs in South Africa who run around and call lawful citizens land thugs and call them settlers. Here's the thing. The previous video in which they all talk about one settler, one bullet, and here, well, let me ask you this question. Is this a video preparing for mass suicide? Is that what it is? Anyway, a group of people here, not just simply economic freedom fighter supporters, but a group known as Africans Congress for Azania. Of course, Azania is the fictitious name for South Africa that's never come about. It is a name chosen by some black nationalists for what is South Africa. We see them toy-toying and assembling unlawfully in front of the school, causing chaos, not listening to police orders to retreat. Eventually, the police start tossing flashbang grenades. And like sad, pathetic little cowards, the callow, feckless fools that they are, instead of settler bullets, they run away. And they run fast and hard. But folks, they won't always run. These law-breaking, hate-filled race merchants will not always run. They will eventually come and attack others. And they'll get away with it because the African National Congress is perfectly happy to allow chaos on the streets as long as it doesn't affect their gravy train of pilfering from the people of South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, this summer, $5.6 billion given to South Africa. $285 million from the African Development Bank, $1 billion from the New Development Bank, or the BRICS Bank, of which South Africa is a member, and finally $4.3 billion loan at 1.1% interest rate, basically a gift from the International Monetary Fund. $5.6 billion in July and August. 100 billion rand. Ladies and gentlemen, where's that money? Where's that money? No transparency. No one's talking about the ANC and what it's done with that money. What we're talking about is these hate-filled slime balls threatening children on the streets of the Western Cape. Well, folks, if you're not a subscriber of Chris White Africa, I ask you to take a moment and become a subscriber. And this is an update on events in Brackenfell that purportedly took place today on the 18th of November. My thanks to the folks in South Africa who provided this footage. I appreciate it. And this was my analysis and my thoughts on the matter. Again, as I advised people on Friday, your best bet is to stay away from Brackenfell when the EFF plans to show up in mass. Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see these clowns show up again tomorrow, the 19th. But my recommendation is simply stay away from the school. Keep your kids out of school. Or if the school is prepared an alternate location, that's great, so they can take their exams. But folks, these people are dangerous, and the government shows no interest in stopping them. Credit to the South African Police Service who did their job, at least it appears they've done their job from the footage that's available to me, in dispersing this unlawful assembly. What they should have done is put people in bracelets and hauled them off to jail. That's where they should have been. Not to mention each of these thugs screaming at the police, potentially exposing police officers to COVID-19 in an unlawful assembly. Anyway, folks, become a subscriber. Smash the subscription button right down there. And be sure to toggle the bell icon to get notified of updates. Feel free to leave a comment if you like. And finally, likes get viewership. And YouTube, for some reason, is blocking many people from actually liking the videos. So I'm actually asking you if you found this at least interesting or informative or insightful. Please smash the like button. We do appreciate it. God bless. And have a lovely day. And thank you for tuning in to Chris White Africa as we discuss the mess at Brackenfell once again. Thank you for your time, for your patronage, and your support. Take care, folks.